Hey, welcome back, comic fans. Mr. Q Comics again, back with a little more show and tell. First off, I just want to say a big thank you to all my existing subscribers here, closing in on 250 subs, which is crazy to me. Really appreciate all the support. Really surprised that I've got to that number as quickly as I have. I don't think it's really all too quick overall for YouTube, but I guess for comic book haul videos, I just really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks to everyone who's been commenting on a regular basis. I really enjoy reading all the comments and connecting with you guys. So today what I got is a little bit older stack of books. I did an indoor yard sale probably over a month ago with my wife. She runs a craft business out of the house, and she does a lot of like craft shows and stuff like that. And she found an inexpensive indoor yard sale and got a couple of tables. So I figured, you know what, let me try and unload some of these books. So I brought down a bunch of long boxes for $1, a handful of key issues, and I was just trying to sell some books. And it was a pretty good day. I actually brought in a couple $100, which I was surprised to do. But also, of course, picked up some books of my own. Of course, I got to do some shopping. So I've got a bunch of stuff there. I think everything was like $1. I can't remember. I bought from a few different vendors, and nothing was more than like $1.50 maybe. I can't even remember because there were a handful of people. So just kind of calling it all $1 because, like I said, kind of bundled stuff up and I don't recall. And I also have a handful of books at the end that are from some grab bags at a local shop. They did this fantastic grab bag event, we'll call it. I mean, they had them out for weeks. They did 100 grab bags, 7 books per bag, $10. And they put in a big key. So one bag had a big key worth, I think they called it about $200. And then they had a handful of smaller keys between like 50 to 100. And just overall really cool grab bags. So I'll show off the first couple I got, and I'll have quite a few more in upcoming videos. You know, I've kind of cherry picked out the kind of better stuff. So let's get into it. I'll try not to keep it too long because I did get, you know, kind of like half a short box here. So first thing, I just grabbed a copy of this. I've never had any of these series. Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. This is issue number 4. It's probably VF. I mean, a lot of these things were people who don't know books just kind of, I mean, I don't even remember if any of this stuff was bagged and boarded. So, yeah, I just started grabbing stuff that seemed interesting and stuff to fill some gaps in my collection here. I grabbed some ASM, ended up having a lot of these already. 564, 579. I'm trying to, you know, I like to piece together everything for ASM, but I'm not going to spend more than $1 on some of these later issues. 580. 581 and 582, and those are all just run fillers, nothing really special there. And I'll get them if I can find them cheap, but I don't want to spend like $3-4 on any of those issues. So another copy of this, I keep getting this book, Justice League America number 31. Again, for $1, you can't go wrong with this. This is the first, I think this is the first Adam Hughes artwork at DC. So this kicks off his stint, his run on this series here. And there's actually a lot of fantastic underrated Hughes covers here. So anytime I find that for $1 in decent shape, I am grabbing that. This, another fantastic find for $1. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths, number 1. I guess you'd call it kind of the equivalent, DC's equivalent of Secret Wars. Kind of came out at the same time frame, 84, 85 for this. Fantastic. This is... yeah, pretty sure it's a George Perez on the cover here. And this is the first Blue Beetle and Detective Carp in DC Comics. And this is actually in pretty good shape. This one probably had a bag and board, so this is probably VF near mint at least. So for $1, stoked to get that. I think I've got the full run again now. I can't remember. I have to go through it. I've been finding a lot of these Crisis books in dollar bins and on the cheap, so I'm grabbing them every time. All right, some more Spidey McFarlane goodness. People right across from us had number 1, both covers. Again, if I'm finding them for $1, I cannot resist. They are not hugely expensive books, but I just love them. This is the epitome of my childhood here. I distinctly remember this coming out, riding my 10-speed or 12-speed, if you had the big bike, to the comic book store. You know, it was like 25 minutes to get there with my buddy. We'd bring our backpacks, ride our bikes to get our pull lists, and I just always remember this book coming out. So I can't resist. I buy these every time I see them for $1. And they're in decent shape. So, all right, this was just a random cool Bronze Age Marvel Team Up number 62. Not a key or anything that I know of, but it's just Chris Claremont story. You got John Byrne art, and I think a Gil Kane cover. So some cool Miss Marvel, Super Skrull, and Spidey action. So for $1, I'm all over that. This is actually a pretty cool book for $1. Daredevil 197. This one probably mid-grade. This is the first, probably gonna butcher it, Yoriko Oyama. I don't know, maybe I did pretty good with that. But who later becomes Lady Deathstrike. It's Denny O'Neil on the story and a Bill Sienkiewicz cover. So this is a pretty decent key for the Daredevil run. Newsstand as well. So I've found these quite a bit in dollar bins as well. So probably like a $10 book. Maybe not that much in that condition here. But all right, these, I was really psyched to get these. Again, I'm a child of the 80s. I'm a total sucker for anything 80s related. And they had Labyrinth #1, which again, this just, seeing this, it's like I'm right back there. Remember this movie, David Bowie with the crazy hair, awesome stuff. Someone had 1 and 2 newsstand copies, both in pretty decent shape. Sid Jacobson story and John Buscema art. And I was surprised. #1 actually goes for pretty decent money, probably 15, $20, something like that. Not crazy, but I thought these were totally worthless. But, I think some other people have some love of these 80s nostalgia as well. So I was stoked about those, and those are definitely staying in the personal collection. Any of these Marvel miniseries for 80s movies and stuff, I can't resist them. This is another one. I was so psyched to find this, and this book is probably worth nothing, okay? But I've seen so many people make fun of this over the years. You guys have heard me teasing Rob Liefeld quite a bit. Someone had a ton of these. It's Captain America #6. It's so terrible that I absolutely love it. It's this weird Captain America. His head is just so out of place. The chest where it's like in a profile. Oh my God, it's just classic Liefeld. I love it. I got 2 of them because they were $1 in good shape. I mean, I almost walked out with like 10 of these, and then I had to check myself. And why do I need 10 of these? I don't, but I've always wanted this. Just classic Liefeld. Look at Cable's gun. Why does he need that bayonet? Look at it. Look how huge the gun is. You got this tiny bayonet that doesn't even barely clears the end of the gun. I don't know. Something about Liefeld. I just can't resist it. It's, again, I said it before. It's like watching the Surgery Channel. I just can't look away. Too funny. All right, someone had these for $1, and I was stoked to get these. As you can see, big fan of Mike Zeck art. I love the Kraven's Last Hunt storyline. Again, quintessential kind of 80s Marvel for me. And they had Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man 131 and 132. Newsstand, direct edition. I got a mix here. And honestly, they had, I think, 5 copies each. So I've already kind of sent one out as an A-OK, and I think I'm going to be selling one here. So I got 5 copies of each, $1 a piece. You cannot go wrong with that. This is probably, to me, it's the weaker books of the storyline, but still cool. I love this story arc is awesome. My favorite covers, of course, going to be Web 32, ASM 293. Then probably 294, but Web 32 and ASM 293 are just fantastic, and it's just a classic Marvel 80s storyline. So for $1 to get those, really psyched about those. Yeah, someone just had boxes of multiples of the same book. So another one, minor key issue, Marvel 2-in-1, #30, probably mid-grade. I don't see this listed on the Key Collector app or on CGC cases, but a lot of people report this as the second appearance of Spider-Woman. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Who's the first Spider-Woman? Oh, I can't remember. Drawing a blank. Anyways, yeah. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but someone had a bunch, and I've grabbed them before. I grabbed 3, 4, 5. And I think I had a couple more that I might have sold already. So decent shape. Again, minor key. It's got a Marv Wolfman story and John Buscema art. Rich Buckler cover. So I'm not 100% if it truly is the second full appearance, but you know what? Bronze Age for $1. I can easily see Spider-Woman, some version. making it into the MCU at some point. So can't go wrong for $1 each. Okay, so last stack from the indoor yard sale. This was probably the first purchase I made. I had a guy come over to the booth. He was buying some of my back issues. We got shooting the breeze. I was asking him if anyone else had books, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I just picked up a copy of this over at this booth," and oh yeah, he had a ton of them. They were $1 each, and I was like, "Really? Why didn't he grab more?" I don't know, but I went over and he had this. I'm really surprised. Great pickup for $1. Amazing Spider-Man 365, first appearance of Spider-Man 2099. Obviously, if you saw the Into the Spider-Verse movie, little teaser, Spider-Man 2099 and that, and he was right. There was a whole stack. The guy had pinpointed it exactly for me. He's like, yeah, it's in the box all the way to the end, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna grab all of them. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think I pulled one that I've got sitting in my box to photograph and list. So 8 copies of Spider-Man 365, $1 a piece, and they're all pretty decent shape. I still have a lot of trouble with this book, kind of in the mid-level right there. If you can see it, I'm probably covering it up. I'm not even watching the camera today. Right there. It's always tough. I find them always with a crease there. But still, $1 a piece. Not going to pass those up. Okay, finally, the grab bags. So probably within the same couple days, I hit up some of these grab bags from my shop, and I opened them right there. So I think I started with just 2 to start. First lot I got some Bronze Age Thor, 351, 352, 353. I think this was all in the same bag. It had a copy of 364, which is, I see this listed as a key as well. I see some listed as the first Throg, and also just, I think CGC listed as Thor becomes a frog. So this book is probably $10 on its own. So I think this one at least paid for the lot. These other Thors, nothing special, but I mean, I think with Beta Ray Bill, I think people are buying any of the books in this area. So it had those 4 Thor books, and it also had some Incredible Hulk, Bronze Age stuff, 257. And I didn't realize, I think most of these are actual keys. This seems to be spiking on eBay a little bit. This has got the first full Arabian Night and the first War Wagon. I guess there's some rumors that there'll be some reiteration of War Wagon coming up in Immortal Hulk. That's what I read anyway. So this book seems to be going for $10 or more on eBay. It had 259 as well, which is the origin of Darkstar and Vanguard. I honestly don't know anything about those characters. I'm just grabbing this right off the Key Collector app. And the last 260, which is the death of Colonel Glenn Talbot. And 261, which I didn't even recognize, is a Frank Miller cover. So for $10, there were supposed to be 7 books per bag, but that one had 8. So I would say that was definitely worth the $10 to me. And the second bag I grabbed, which to me was even better, and this wasn't even one of the winners, Secret Wars. Copy of Secret Wars #1. This one I checked. It's got the Blue Galactus variant. People call it the variant, but it seems like every issue I get has the misprinted Blue Galactus. I think the regular one is actually more rare. But it's funny because you will see people advertise it on eBay as if this is the special one, and I've probably acquired 10 copies of this in the past couple years, and everyone has the Galactus where his body's blue and like his head and gloves are white. I think that's what it might be, the other way around. But anyways, it was issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it did have 6 and 7, and no, of course, no joy. There was no number 8. It was, again, 7 book lots, and I'm positive they would have had number 8. It's one of the big winners if it was in there. But still, really high grade. I actually think the #1 is in better shape than any of the other copies I have. I think all of them are VF near mint or better. 6 and 7, of course, minor keys. First appearance of the second full Spider-Woman, Julia Carpenter. For some reason, I can remember her name, but not the first one. So I think these are great books to have. I've been buying multiple copies of Secret Wars. I think if you're going to have another major MCU event, Secret Wars could very well be likely. I mean, who knows? Your guess is as good as mine, but I love Secret Wars, and I've been just stocking up. Even if it doesn't make its way into the MCU, it is quintessential 80s Marvel. You got Mike Zeck artwork. I mean, it's got a ton of things going for it. So whatever that works out to, $10 for those seven, $10 for those seven, $1.50 a piece. Super happy with that. So yeah, that's the haul, guys. No Silver Age crazy keys like usual. A little bit of a different bargain haul here, but as always, hope you guys enjoy. If you do, please like, subscribe, hit notifications, and please spread the word. Thanks a lot, guys, and happy hunting.